I'm a senior lecturer in social work at the University of Kent. I really want to welcome you to this virtual event that gives us an opportunity to, for me to give you some information on the BA and MA in social work. These are programs I have taught for the past 7 to 8 years. So I'm very familiar with them, especially particular modules. What can I say? A bit more about myself is that I am a qualified social worker. I originally come from Greece, where I qualified, and I came to this country to do a postgraduate study, and I did a PhD. So my interest back then, quite some time ago, was around youth homelessness, and I looked at, the phenomenon both in Greece and the UK. Since then, I have worked in homelessness and I have been an academic for a number of years now. So previously, I was at another university. So that's a little bit about me. I will talk a little bit more about my experience with our programs, my contribution, and what I can give you really as an insight, both to the study of social work, but also, as far as I can, in terms of the profession. I'm still very passionate about social work, even after all these years. So I think that's a good sign, really. What I will do is I'm going to share my screen to share some brief slides. I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of, maybe make it big, with a lot of, slide upon slide and all of that. But I think it's important to sort of just provide you with a bit of context when it comes to our programs. So this is how my name is spelled, by the way, which might be helpful. And this is my email. So, those slides can be available. There will be a recording of this event. So by all means, if you have any questions, do use my email. Okay, you also have contact points within the university admissions. So social work at Kent. We offer a number of programs for the particular interest and your attendance really to this virtual event are the BA and the MA in social work routes. I've put right from the beginning there in terms of information that these are programs that partially receive or have the opportunity for students to receive the bursary. Now that is the NHS Business Authority bursary. I've just noticed my slight typo here. But what that means, it means that every year we get allocated a number of bursaries that then might cover, all the students, or at least, we could have some like 20 a year, all of that. But just to sort of highlight that there is that financial slight assistance, I would say. For the BA, that is relevant from the second year onwards. So the first year for BA students, the funding is coming from a loan or self-funding, whatever it might be. MA is from the start, and how many we have, how many students, so that affects the distribution, if you like. Very important is that both programs are pre-qualifying programs. What does that mean? Is that you're not a registered qualified social worker and come to do a degree, a BA or MA, as something extra. It's for people who are new to social work, who want to, by the end of the programs, to be a qualified social worker formally, and to register with the professional regulator who are called Social Work England. Okay, so social work is a regulated profession, meaning that not anybody or everybody can sort of claim that they are a social worker. Where I come from, actually in Greece, it's a protected title, which is here as well. So you have to, it carries a lot of power and a lot of weight, really. What the programs do is they combine the academic learning, so university-based modules, classroom learning, uh, activities that we have, in our campus in Medway, but that is combined with practice placements. So we have, for both programs, we are asked to design programs that give you the opportunity of having 200 days of practice learning. I think about 20 to 30 of them are taking place during modules, and then there is a first placement that is 70 days long. What does that mean? It means you're out in the field, effectively, like working, but you are a student social worker. And then the final placement is 100 days. By the end of it, you reach, the level of being, working towards qualification. So that is quite exciting, I think, because for a lot of us in social work, yes, we can think theoretically, we can think abstractly, we're questioning, critical thinkers, and become even more so through the learning, but also we do it, we're active learners. We like to get involved with direct work, working with people, helping people, supporting vulnerable individuals, families, be placed in communities that need some further support. So I personally, really like that combination, and that is what has drawn me into social work. We also have engagement with research. Now, research is where it's one of the big pieces, if you like, of the puzzle of creating new knowledge, improving social work and how we work with people. And again, through the programs, you sharpen your understanding of research, of the knowledge that is out there. But also, especially for the MA, you do your own dissertation, but I'll talk about that a little bit more. So in Ken, at the university, we are a team that has, different areas of expertise, of research interests. We are qualified social workers. Different members of staff in our team have, different practice experiences. So I've mentioned that I've worked in homelessness. Other colleagues have been in local authorities doing children and family social work, adult services. So, there's a international, actually, again, I'll repeat, I'm from Greece, but we have colleagues that are from, different parts of the world where they have been educated and practiced in very different and diverse sort of communities with quite challenging conditions and social problems. So all that richness of of what we bring, I think, is a particular strength of our team and our programs. We also have very strong partnerships with employers. For example, we have this through a teaching partnership. What that means is that we work formally together with, Kent County Council, Medway Council. We have local charities, voluntary sector, independent sector, who both provide our placements, but also they are there to give us their insight and work with us in designing our programs and making sure that we're up to date, the workforce needs are met. We need social workers more than, more and more, really. So that is a really important dimension of our work. Also, just to add, and again, it's something that I find really, really empowering almost, is that we are part of SSB SSR. Now, what is that? School of Social Policy, Sociology, and Social Research. Social work being part of that, for me, when I joined, it gave me such, it opened up the world for me, really, in a sense that social work seems to be like the practical application of the more sociological thought, the social policy context. We are the ones who go out and implement these and try to make social, create social change. It's a very strong school, and we are very strong in research. So I've put there that we are third in the social work and social policy REF unit of assessment. What is REF? It's, to simplify it, it's a formal way of assessing research quality and impact. You know, do we stay in our offices doing obscure research that is not changing anyone's lives? No, actually, you know, we have been assessed as a whole school as producing research that is really high impact. It's changing policies, changing the way we do things. And another very important point, which I'm sure you will be interested in, is that we have very high employability for our graduates. So the stats there say that 95 of our graduates in social work are in work or further study 15 months after graduating. What I'll tell you from my experience is that the vast majority of our students have job offers before they even qualify. That's how much well prepared they are, but also how high the need is for social workers. Okay, so this is a profession, a study that can almost guarantee that, you know, an employment route, a career route. So that's, again, very important. Just to add to that, actually, the partnership element is also hugely important to stress, that we also have a very strong partnership with people with lived experience. So we are not here at the university trying to sort of tell you what is, you know, right or wrong, or to sort of transfer some knowledge that we have created, or we, you know, as professionals, as academics. Actually, again, who has that immediate knowledge and in-depth understanding of what it means to be someone who is in contact with social services, who might find themselves at a, you know, tricky position really in life, a vulnerable position for many reasons. So we have a group called the Partnership Initiative. So they're incredible. Okay, I've learned huge amounts from this group of people with lived experience for various reasons. We also have young people from who have been looked after children. Again, you can imagine the richness of the experience and the learning that students can acquire from that. I'm very passionate about it, this particular part of the work. Any questions at this point before I briefly outline the BA and then the MA? And if you want, in fact, let me see, if you can raise your hand, I don't know if I can see that, but if you can raise your hand if you're interested in the BA, out of the, I can see 21, so 19 participants. Can you put your hand up if you're interested, you're here for the BA, please? I don't know if I can see that. Stefan, are you able to see responses, or is there anything in the chat?
I was just counting the hands. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Why can't I see
6,
it?
7.
Okay.
8 hands in total.
Okay. So I think we're split probably, yeah.
50-50, I would say.
I would say, yeah. Some of you might be joining this from, you know, abroad, you know, international candidates or applicants. So again, that would be interesting. But okay, any questions before I continue at this point? Okay, probably not. I will continue just to give a brief outline of the BA in social work. Okay, so this is a 3-year program, and what it is open, if you like, it's for applicants who are new to social work and they are new to university learning. Okay, so the first year, as I've said, it leads you to qualify as a social worker. Okay, so the first year of the program is university based. You come in for modules for classroom learning, for different learning activities. And the modules, I'm just giving you some of the titles. At the moment, they are what is social work? So, more introductory sort of material to understand social work, values and ethics, understanding the value base of the profession, really. Social policy, communication skills, very interactive, learning about how to interview someone, how to create rapport, those sort of things. Law, of course, because social work is very much in many areas of practice, uses the relevant legislation, okay, and has legislative sort of duties. Lifespan development, understanding how people grow, how they develop across the life course. We learn about theories, because social work is not just about good intentions or instinct, it's about bringing the existing knowledge and theoretical approaches to how we work with people, what interventions we put in place. And readiness for direct practice, that's a longer module that exposes students to the realities of social work. Again, it's skills development, a lot of interesting and really eye-opening, if you like, material. Then the second year, let me remember, it starts at the moment, it starts with the placement. So you've had in the BA 1 year to really get your head around both the university learning and also social work, okay? So beginning of second year is a 70-day placement. That is usually in the voluntary or independent private sector. So charities could be, mental health, homelessness, or schools. We have a number of placements that are primary or secondary schools. So that allows students to start applying some of their learning. We have, after students come back, we have modules around children and families, adults, mental health, and issues for families. Again, it's that knowledge, isn't it, of understanding people's lives and what can affect their well-being, really. And then the third year, you start at the moment, as the program is now, you start with modules, university-based modules on multi-agency work, advanced interventions, which means more advanced skills work, based on theories and particular models of intervention, and reflective practice, as well as research. You have a module where you becoming a bit more familiar with how research is fundamental, really, to the profession. And you complete your studies with 100-day placement, and that usually happens somewhere where there are statutory duties. What I mean by that is that you need to go somewhere where, you have to implement the law effectively. And think about it, that could be children and families work, child protection, it could be adult services, the Care Act, where older individuals or people with particular vulnerabilities, mental health, learning disabilities, physical disability, all of that. So that's in a nutshell what it looks like, okay, the BA. At the end of it, all being well, you qualify as a newly qualified social worker, you register with Social Work England, hopefully you have a job already, by that point. Now, the MA in social work, that is a 2-year program. And I put, for your clarity, that it is a September to October run, okay? And that's important because the teaching starts in September, say, at the moment, 23, okay? Our current intake will complete their studies in October 25. And I'll explain why that is. So it's a full 2-year program, okay? Now, what is the difference of the MA? It is for people who have a first degree. We prefer a degree that is relevant, that has given an insight into relevant areas. But of course, we can be flexible, if you like, in that respect. But also we require 6 months practical experience. That doesn't have to be paid. It can be voluntary, or indeed it can be personal experience, caring for a relative, having experience as an individual yourselves, as of particular issues that have alerted you to the social care, if you like, field. So the first year, and why we ask this is because it's 2 years. It's a lot of work, so you need to come in with some knowledge, existing, at least awareness, let's put it that way. So the first year starts with modules. The first term has modules around, again, values and ethics, social policy, communication skills, law, theories, readiness for direct practice, individuals, family, and society. Okay, so you can see we're trying through these different modules to capture a broad understanding of society, of individuals' lives, and of the profession. Okay, so once you complete that, from January, you have, or students have, a 70-day placement. Again, it echoes what I said about the BA, which is probably in a school or in a Sure Start center. It could be in a mental health charity, all sorts of different, predominantly voluntary sector placements. Okay, so you go out, you do the work, on the basis of the knowledge you've accumulated. The second year starts with the 100-day placement, which, as I said before, for the BA is statutory, which means you have to be in a role that uses the law effectively. Okay? Then it follows up with the modules echoing what I said about the BA around working with children and families, adults, mental health, and also developing your critical reflective practice. I can talk about that and explain what that is a bit more if needed. But also throughout the program, at the end of the first year, you do a module at the moment as the program stands. You do a module on research methods, and then in the second year, you get allocated a supervisor. You have already submitted a research proposal. It's up to you to choose a topic you're very interested in. And during the second year, you also undertake the work around your dissertation, okay? I'm pretty sure it's 12,500 words. It might seem like a lot, but again, encouraging sounds for me is that the vast majority of our students not only write the dissertation, but they pass it and they do some exciting work. Interviews, they touch on topics that are under-researched. It's really a very rewarding piece of work, the dissertation. And that is also what gives you the MA, the postgraduate. Okay, I'll stop there because I think, you can look at the website, obviously. Maybe I'll stop sharing, I think, at this point. And please let me know of any questions.
We do have a few raised hands. I was just wondering, are these from okay, we do have a few
Sorry, yeah.
questions now.
I can see now. Yeah. So it's
Perfect.
Nelson and Fantasia. Right. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, and please correct me. Can you speak then, Nelson? Can you speak? Can I hear you? If you unmute yourself, or
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, yes, thank you for the very informative presentation. I don't know whether my question would be is for this platform. I wanted to ask on the advanced child protection courses that you offer on social work. Do you do them, or is it a different department?
It's slightly different team. We are sort of working together, but it's the Center for Child Protection, I think, what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So the Center for Child Protection, there are colleagues, they do fantastic work, but it's a different one to this. Yeah. I again, I'm not the most knowledgeable, but I wonder if that is aimed at qualified social workers, you know. I'm under the impression.
I'm a qualified social worker already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking of doing the master's via that route.
Is it online? I think they have some online programs, haven't they?
Yes, that's where I saw the program.
Yeah. I think you'll have to, and again, we can send you maybe some information, but catch maybe a virtual open day that they run. As I said, there are colleagues, we work together, you know, team meetings together, but I'm not the right person to give you that information. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And then we had another hand up, Fantasia. Are you still, I can't see a hand up. Let me see. I think we've lost that. Anyone else?
We have a few questions in the
In the chat. Okay. Yeah.
from Jessica, and
Oh,
some of them are anonymous.
okay. Okay. Right. Sorry, I'm here now. Do I need a driver's license, and how far away are the placements? Right, Jessica. This is a sore point and a tricky one. Our partners, unless someone is not able to drive for reason of health, yes, someone coming on our programs, because of the geographical makeup of Kent, which has a lot of rural areas, and also obviously our partners who require students to drive to be able to do their work, you do need a driver's license. That doesn't mean that, I think I'm just trying to think, for the BAs, someone can join the program without a driver's license, but we clearly state that someone needs to acquire that by the end of the first year. I'm just trying to think, for the MA, usually, I don't know if someone cannot have it, but they need to have it by January, okay? As I said, it's a requirement. If one doesn't have a driver's license, it creates delays in securing a placement. How far away are the placements? I think we're talking about a travel over an hour sometimes is, you know, what we warn, if you like, students in terms of how far it can be. But bear in mind, this is part of the course, okay? So it depends. We try to match students with the placement, their locality, but equally it's about making sure that a placement is there. I hope that has answered. If you have more questions, the driver's license needs to be current, as I said. For some of you, if you're international applicants, I think, and again, I'm no expert on the driving license sort of rules, but I know that an international license is valid for 1 year, after which one has to exchange it, I think, for a British or something like that. Bear these things in mind. Okay, so Oluwakemi, any exams during all the courses? The good news is, I know people don't like exams. We don't really have exams as such. We have different assessments like essays, presentations. We used to have exams for the law, and I think now it's I think it's a legal problem. That's what it's called, a legal problem that students have 1 week to complete. So it's all posted, so you wouldn't sit in a desk effectively writing down in 2 hours something. No, we don't have that. What is the application process for the BA course? You can check it on the website. Effectively, you go through UCAS, which is the formal British system where one can apply. Okay, we require some documents. It goes to our admissions colleagues. So again, Stefan, if you want to post that in the
Yes,
chat,
I will put the link in the chat now. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Just to add to that, because I can talk forever, there's the application process. To take you a little bit further than that, most of them will be processed by our colleagues in admissions. Some will come to me because I oversee admissions for social work, the BA and MA. But also bear in mind that if we invite you to proceed with your application, let's put it that way, you have applicants go through a written test to check for English and ability to write and make sense of, we usually send some articles from a newspaper just for you to comment, also to see the writing style and everything, ability. Then we also have an observed group discussion, which is led by our colleagues at the Partnership Initiative Group, which means people with lived experience. An academic is there as well. Effectively, you get a case study. In a group setting, you discuss it, okay? And we see how you work together as a group, those sort of things. Just to say that this year we're holding everything online. We've run it before, it works quite well, actually. And then you have also an individual interview where we have a set list of questions. Everyone is asked the same questions for fairness. And then you have the opportunity to talk about your own experience, your interest in social work, all of that, and ask questions. So I'm giving you the full, process of applying. Okay. So next one, what is the workload like outside of lectures and seminars? Right. You do have pre-reading for lectures. You're expected to do independent study, follow-up references we put up. So it is a big part of your learning. And this is what develops your skills, really. It depends on the individual as well in terms of, how, I don't know how to put it, how people respond to respond to the sort of readings we put up, or indeed when you work towards a deadline, I can imagine the workload will be more demanding. I think you need to consider it as a full-time program. It's like working full-time, okay? So you might have a day where you have 3 hours of teaching, or 2 in fact, say a lecture and a seminar, but you should in your mind remember that it's a full-time program. So then you follow up, you do some reading, all of that. Right. Would my Succeed program scholarship help me get into the course? I don't know what that is. If it covers, again, I don't know, sorry, but I don't know this particular scholarship. If you have funding effectively that covers your fees and maybe living expenses, that is something that's a great bonus, isn't it? What gets someone on the course, whether it's BA or MA, is this process that I described already in terms of us checking your awareness and understanding of the profession, parts of the emotional readiness for it, I guess. We want to see potential. Okay, that's the and that you understand social work effectively. So a scholarship is brilliant, absolutely, but it's not going to be someone who hasn't got a scholarship. In no way are we going to say you're not coming on. That makes sense. But really good that you have one, absolutely. But also everybody has to go through the same process of the test, written test, interview, and a group discussion. Okay. When we have to complete work experience, will it be within the area of Kent, as in around the school area? We have strong partnerships with Kent schools and some near Medway, in fact. However, we do, when you say work experience, you mean the practice placements, I take it, which is, a big part of the course, both courses. Sometimes we have some placements in South London, some other local authorities. The main place, the bulk of the placements are in Kent. Okay. Let's see. Thank you. Do we need to have any previous healthcare setting experience? It's a bonus for the MA. We want that, not necessarily. I mean, healthcare, of course, can be relevant, But it's not just healthcare, it's also social care. So someone might have worked in a care home, or someone might have looked after a relative, as I mentioned. For the BA, again, it's not a sort of absolute requirement, but we want to see that interest and understanding of social work, okay? Because social work is really exciting, rewarding, demanding profession, okay? One, I don't know, we need to see that someone has a good understanding at that point of coming on to a course, okay? Will the program be able to attend me or 3 days a week? It's a full, hi Dalal, I recognize your name. It's a full-time course. The reality of it is that parts of the program might end up being, when you're on university, face-to-face teaching, it might be that, yeah, those are compacted into 3 days. However, when you go on placement, which makes up a big part of both the BA and the MA programs, you work full-time effectively. Okay, so don't just think that it's 3 days. Oh, okay, I can do that, because once you go on placement, it's 5 days a week. Okay. When taking placement, do you expect us to do the area we do not want to go into first? For example, I want to work with children, so would I have to do placement with elderly before a care home? Right, Tully. What our professional regulator asks us to do is to give students experience in 2 different placements. We don't have the ability to sort of, as you say, we can't do that to say, oh, you want to work in children and families, so we'll put you there. It's a complex picture of what we have available in terms of placements and how to ensure that you get a taste of different areas of social work. So the first placement might be in a school where you work with children, families. The second placement might be an adults team or, mental health. So it's that variety that we want you to get before you qualify. Okay, so it's not prescriptive like that. We don't say, oh, you're going to learn this before you go for your chosen one. No. Our programs, Dalal, are face-to-face. It's not online for this BA and the MA. So they are face-to-face, yeah. One has to be at the university and also undertake the placements here in Kent, effectively, in the UK. Okay. Honama, I'm enrolling for social work. Right, I guess that would be either the BA or MA. Yeah. Right, with the declaration forms that need to be handed in before the interview, how do we hand them in? I think you can either send them back to our colleagues in admissions. You will have a contact point, probably either the admissions email. Again, Stefan, you might be able to help me here by putting an email. When you have been sent those forms, they will probably, whoever sent them to you, that's who you return them to. If you haven't handed them in, you can always, I hope I'm saying this right, but we've had candidates send them in later, okay? We ask for this, for those who don't know, if you haven't gone as far as that, we ask for 3 declaration forms, I'm pretty sure, that talk about health. I think it's the criminal record, and I think it might be the driving, can't remember, but we are asked because social work is such a responsible profession. It doesn't mean that if you have a health issue, past or present, or indeed if you have any form of criminal conviction, that immediately you are not coming on the course. That would be hugely oppressive and discriminatory, and that's not what social work is about. We look at every incident, if you like, case by case. Okay. Is there any formal interview? Definitely yes. Even when you're invited for interview for the whole admissions, you will get a date and a link. So you will usually meet with one academic member of staff and usually a practitioner who is, in frontline social work. Okay, and that is something that happens, as I said, this year online. Right, Tully, the assumption is that a student lives in Kent or near Kent. We have some students who live in London, South London. We can just about, my understanding is just about source placements there, but you can imagine that we don't have partnerships with Essex, for example, or I don't know, Midlands, somewhere in the Midlands. We don't. We are local to the to Kent and South London, I would say. Also, there are other universities that have those partnerships. So ideally, yes, one needs to live near the university, really, or in Kent, I would say, or be able to travel in the local area. Will we ever work with the Canterbury campus? We don't have classrooms there. We are based in Medway, but bear in mind that not majority, but half of the learning happens on placement. So you might have a Canterbury placement, you can by all means access the Canterbury campus. There's a shuttle bus that is free between Medway and Canterbury. You have access to all the library in Canterbury. You have access to, all the amenities there, really. But we don't teach in Canterbury, okay? Do you know how I can apply for the social work degree apprenticeship as well? Yeah. Do you know what? I think they've been having interviews recently. I think the apprenticeships, up until very recently, and again, for those who don't know, apprenticeships are open mainly to employers. The employers put forward, employees that have been a social work assistant for a while. So this is a different course, a different program that is mainly based in practice. So apprentices are the bulk of the learning happens in their practice, okay? And the university learning is online predominantly, okay? I think, to answer your question, that very recently they opened it up to not just be employer decided. Before we had to have the employers putting someone forward. I think recently they've opened it up. So again, Stefan, if you have any more information, or indeed we can get back to you if we get your contact details, I can give you some information on that. We can give you. It's another route, that one. Does the field aspect of the master's degree take place in schools, universities, and hospitals? Well, schools definitely. The placements, we have schools, partnership with schools. Universities, not as such. I wouldn't know, because not really. But hospitals is a very interesting question, because I had students years ago that were in a hospital setting, and in the UK, they changed the way they offer hospital social work to be out in the community. So I don't know if there are, those provisions anymore, So, but there is definitely a variety of placements, really. Timetable for lessons and location. So for the BA, at the moment, I'm teaching BA1s, for example, the first years. You're looking at midweek, really. Mondays tend to be free as in study day. And then we have teaching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Location is Medway, the buildings in Medway campus. And then it continues from there, really. So I couldn't tell you the timetable, but you're looking at placement being full-time. Okay, and then you would have, usually you have one study day when it's university-based learning, okay? The MA, I think, again, I was teaching MAs last term. Now they're out on placement, in fact, so 5 days a week. But last term, I'm pretty sure they had about 4 days of teaching, okay? I have an interview coming up. Lovely, Jennifer. I might meet you. Are all interviews virtual or face-to-face? The interviews this year are virtual, so we're going to be using Teams, Microsoft Teams. However, we have applicant days that are going to be face-to-face. What that means is that if you want and are able to come on campus, you can meet some of us and have that experience there, the face-to-face. We're not saying don't come, but I think for a number of reasons, the virtual interviews seem to work better for candidates. So we've adapted. Honama, I live close to Kenborough. Can I get a placement near Dartford? I'm pretty sure we have Dartford connections. I'm not the placement manager, so I can't give you an in-depth sort of breakdown of the areas that we are covering, but Dartford is not that far. It's still within our reach, I think. Can I specify a sample final letter if I have professional experience with people with special needs as a social researcher? I'm not sure what you mean, Dalal. Sample final letter if I have professional experience. That could be your personal statement, if that's what you mean. When you apply online, we want a statement. So by all means, and a reference. So by all means, the more information we get, the stronger your application becomes. Okay? Cool. Anyone else? Have I got any hands up or any? It's important to ask questions because you can read all the information about entry requirements and some more detailed information on the website, which of course you can access in your own time. But I think it's important to also, all these questions can't be answered. How can I be invited into an interview? You need to apply through UCAS. And that will be processed and go to our admissions team. And we need to check your, qualifications, I guess, depending on which of the two programs you're going for. So again, you can see those on the website, but we need, English and maths. Maths is optional at the moment. Anyway, there are some conditions, if you like, that we consider and applicants need to meet. You also put in a personal statement through UCAS, and we require a reference as well. Okay, so once we check all these and they're a good starting point, and we think, yeah, that looks sort of meeting what we're asking at that stage, then you will be contacted with an invitation for the written test and a date for the group discussion and an interview. Okay, so all of this is handled by our colleagues in admissions. Okay, we have dates at the moment, so if you haven't heard yet, you will. Okay, we have set dates covered by ourselves and practitioners, so yeah. Any other questions? Keeping an eye on raised hands. Yeah, sorry. GCSE maths and required. The maths at the moment is optional. That was a change that happened during the pandemic, and it's still optional. Okay, the English though is definitely a requirement. I think it's C level for GCSEs, and then international equivalent, I think it's 7.5 or something. Anyway, so yes, we do need definitely the the English. What are the requirements for BTEC students? That's a bit technical. I couldn't tell you top of my head, but again, let me see through. I think when it says let's see. Sorry, I'm looking through entry requirements. Let's see. BTEC nationals. It's on the website. Distinction, merit. is what we're looking at the moment. DDM, contextual offer, they say, which means, you know, what it might be, what is predicted, all of that, okay? Yeah, but also for some applicants, if there are personal circumstances or other stuff, you know, there is some flexibility, but generally speaking, yeah, that is at the moment DM, okay, which probably, yeah. For the written test, will it be completed on campus? No. Again, that is online. We've kept it online for a number of years now. Effectively, what happens, I think you're given a list, okay? And sorry, a link. You click on it and you're asked to read we have chosen short articles that talk about social work in one way or another, or service user groups. And you have to write answer a question, really. It's not very long, but it's timed. So it's not on campus, okay? Let's see, any other questions? We have about, 5 to 7 minutes left. So any other questions? Okay. What is the priority people who does access to social work? What do you mean? What is the priority people does access? Do you mean if someone is doing some pre studies, like what do they call it? I'm not sure I fully understand your question. However, if you're talking about coming on the course, as I said, we're looking at previous, we're looking at grades for the BA, previous experience as well for the MA in particular. Yeah, and so we're making a judgment on the basis of many different elements of what you present. As I said, and please bear that in mind, we want to see potential. Okay, you're not coming on the course, on these courses, as a fully qualified and complete sort of social worker, not at all. It's just to see that you understand, you're committed to the profession, you have a fair understanding of what social work is about, you have a commitment to supporting people, to social justice, these things. So think very carefully about your personal statement. Deborah, I really want to be a social worker. My personal statement was on mental health. Absolutely, yeah. That sounds to me extremely relevant. Absolutely. Social work is quite, these are generic programs, meaning that you don't come out specializing in something. So having worked for 5 years in a mental health support worker role is extremely relevant. I can't tell you, So absolutely, yeah. Will you be doing any interviews on the 17th? I will, Jennifer. So we might meet. I think another colleague of mine will be doing as well. Yeah. You're doing access to social work. That should give you quite a good, what's the word, sort of understanding of social work, a good preparation for coming on to a full qualifying program, definitely. Yeah. Let's see if any other questions come up. I talk a lot, but I have to say I'm very passionate about social work. Really, still, after all these years, I qualified in the 90s in Greece, and my program was almost 4 years, I think. We did a lot. And I still, it's a profession. I'm sure you're convinced because you're applying or considering social work, but it's a great profession that really opens up a lot of doors as a career and as, a sort of route for your life, really. Because you can do, I say that to students all the time, you can do a lot of different things across your career. Okay, and it's really rewarding, difficult but rewarding to work with people. Right. Okay. Hanama, apply. I don't know, I haven't seen your name come up in the applications I have seen, but consider, that's for everyone who, some of you have interviews lined up, that's great. For others who are thinking of applying, think about your statement quite carefully. Think about a reference, okay? Tell us why you want social work, okay? That's really important. Why are you deciding on social work? What you can bring to it? Excellent, okay. Have you got an interview date, Honama? I wonder, I haven't seen your name. It hasn't come to me, but not all of them come. Okay. Cool. I see we have a lot. Open. Oh, no, that's the questions. Okay. Yeah. Oh, good question. Are there any preferred A-level subjects? I don't think that is said really. To be honest, relevant A-levels, let me see. Relevant A-levels put you in a good position, really. If you've done sociology or psychology or, I don't know, those sort of, let me see what it says. That gives you a good understanding, but not really. I think it's the A-levels, my understanding is they give you a good starting point in learning. Right. On Ken Vision, it said my interview is at 10, but it isn't specific. How will I know what time it is exactly? It should be at 10. If it says 10, we start at 10. So, yeah, I would think that's the time you have allocated. If not, email our colleagues who, there's the LSSJ admissions email there, and, when will you know about the interview? Amy, you will be, and Honama, you will be informed. I have, as I said, not all the applications come to me, only the ones that I need to consider, because others are just, processed through our centrally, okay? So we have dates. We're trying to process, a number of applications, but by all means, we really look forward to seeing you in interviews. It's such a good opportunity for you to check us out as well, and for us to ask the questions, but that's what interviews do. When will the interview period be for students in the master's program? It's starting already, Dalal. So we have dates. I think what has happened is we have a lot of applications, which is, we're trying to sort of make sure that we go through them. But we have already started. I mean, the first date is the 17th, and we have other dates, sort of January, February, March. So yeah, you will be notified. Abby, okay. You're saying it's a link. I think this is what my colleagues who organize interviews do. So I don't get involved with that. I get informed of the different links. So bear with us. If there's still issues really with that. Yes, the interviews are between 10 and 3. Probably near the time you might get a notification if it is for the 17th. Yeah. Marvella, no. Did you have to attend this meeting to get an interview? No. Not at all. You apply through UCAS. This is an open date, or a virtual open event to provide information more than anything else. Okay, so you have hoops to jump through if you like, but no, this is more of an information session, but also an opportunity for some of you to get to meet me. I oversee admissions for the BA and MA. It's also nice to have a face to a name, isn't it? And I guess opportunity to ask questions from a member of the teaching team. Yeah. Right. Anything else? Any other questions before we wrap it up, as they say? No, Jennifer, sorry, I don't want to create any confusion. No, we don't have a small campus. What I mean is that we try and source placements that might be nearer to that area, but no, we don't have a campus there, no. So for example, we had, 1 year, and again, I'm not involved in the placements so directly, but we had some placements in St. Mungo's, which is the homelessness charity. and they're in London, you know? So that's what I mean is we're trying to create those sort of partnerships, but no campus. Yep. Okay. Any final questions before we complete this sort of event? Lovely. Yeah, same here. It's really nice, as I said, to actually get to meet applicants, you know, and put a face into an application. And also just to say, your interest in social work is so much appreciated, you know. It's a great profession. We need social workers both in this country and internationally. So it's really great to come together, really, you know, and think about studying, giving you information. Okay. Group work, absolutely, yes. There's group presentations, there's seminars. So you're not sitting in a classroom just listening to you know, there's role plays. So yeah, group work, if that's what you mean in the learning, definitely. Sometimes students also undertake group work in their placements. They might create a group, a support group in a school or in a mental health setting, whatever. Yeah. Lovely. Okay. Lovely. Thank you all so much. I've seen you as names and as, you know, questions, but I'm really looking forward. If you want to continue with your application or put in an application, I really hope I get to meet you in one of the interview days, or indeed some of my colleagues might meet you.